The order system is connected to the data warehouse by the orders DTS package. The orders DTS package reads the data inside of the orders database tables and imports them to the data warehouse. You can then use the reports and the SQL Server reporting services to view the orders placed on the website. So let's take a quick look at how the DTS package reads the data and some of the reports for the orders system. So in order to get the DTS packages executed and set up, we need to confirm a couple of things. First, we need to make sure that the data warehousing is set up for the site. We need to go to our Commerce Server Manager and take a look at the C# site and look at the resources and notice that we have a data warehouse resource. And this data warehouse resource points to a global resource called Data Warehouse 1. So if we go to the global resources and we have our data warehouse over here. If we go and look at the properties of this will tell us about what SQL Server database the data warehouse exists and which SQL analysis server we're pointing to. So if we go to our SQL now and open up our databases, so here we have our C# site data warehouse table with all of the tables associated for the data warehouse. And if we go to the analysis database, and as you can see, we have our C# data warehouse with all its cubes and dimensions. Now, if you don't have the data warehouse resource installed, basically you would just right-click and add a new resource, and then you would select the data warehouse pub and package the data warehouse. After you finish doing this, you would create the DTS packages to import the data warehouse. I've already done this, so if I go to MySQL under Management and under the Legacy, notice I have my C# DTS package here. And if we were to open this, you can see all of the DTS packages over here that we have. Let's just rearrange this for a little bit. Okay, let's also make it a little bit bigger. So here we go. As you can see now, we have a DTS package for each subsystem in Commerce Server, and the one that we're interested in is the transaction data import. And if we right click on that and go to these properties, so here looking at the properties, you can change the description as well as the organization or the operational level, as well as changing the site name. So we're currently in the C# site, keep everything as default. You can do full data import or incremental. I've selected the incremental. So let's just keep this as default. Just wanted to show you some of the properties that was available to you. And then when you execute this, what happens is that the DTS package will go to SQL Server and it will go to our C# site transactions database, and it will go to the two tables that we had mentioned earlier, trans category and trans dimension, and then based on this it's going to go look at which fields or which columns are to be imported as part of the data warehouse. So here we're looking at the trans category table, and as you notice, here's our tables that we have been imported, and these tables correspond to these views that are going to be read. So the views are the abstraction layer between the data warehouse and the tables and the transactions database. And if we go to our trans dimension, as you can see, these are all of the columns associated to the tables, and they're going to be imported into the data warehouse. So this information is read and it's imported into the C# data warehouse database. And then when you execute the DTS package, then the data is imported into the data warehouse, and the cubes are refreshed in the analytics database. So once this is done, you install the reports for Commerce Server by running the installer report, and then go to your reporting services, and here we have our C# site. If we go into that, there are 4 languages. Commerce Server comes in 4 different languages: English, German, French, and Japanese. So currently we're going to go to the English side, and we can go look at the product sales report as far as what type of information we've imported. So we go look at the customer sales report, and you'll notice that this user ID has made 3 purchases, and it's totaling $297 on the site. So how do you get the DTS package installed? If you go to Start, Programs, and then Commerce Server where it was installed, if you go under Tools, you have the Data Warehouse Import Wizard. This wizard will help you and guide you in creating the DTS package for Commerce Server. So here you could select any one of the DTS packages, and then the site that you want, and select Next. Then you can choose either incremental or full. Then choose your weblogs, where they're located, and then you can either execute this immediately or you can save this. So once you save that information, it will then appear in the SQL Server, and if you wanted to run the reports, go to the command line prompt where Program Files, Microsoft Commerce Server 2007, Tools, and run the report installer. The report installer, you select your data warehouse, and then supply it where the SQL Server reporting services is installed, and give it a root level report server, and test the connection, and then install the RDLs for the basically reports for Commerce Server.